Okay, having some computer issues, so I can't ink in presentation mode, so we're going to ink in uh, this mode. So I'm sorry if it's not convenient, we'll get it fixed as soon as possible. So 3.2 is function notation. Um, a different definition for the word function is a rule that takes an input in the domain and pairs it or maps it to an output in the range. So that's another definition of a function. We got a different one the other day. Now, function notation is a way of writing a function. So it's a method of writing variables as a function of another variable. Okay, so that covers the two definitions at the top of your page. If you look at the next page, it shows f of x, g of x, h of x are all ways to write functions and relationships between numbers. Here are a few examples. Y equals 2x minus 3 is the same thing as f of x equals 2x minus 3. Y equals 1 half x plus 1 is the same as f of x equals 1 half plus 1. Y equals negative 3x is the same as g of x equals negative 3x. So this is saying y is a function of x or f is a function of x. All the same stuff. Okay, so function notation really is saying substitute in a value or expression for. So the first set of examples we're going to have is determine the value of f of 2 for each function. So you need to plug into for this x right there. Not the first one because this is really y. F of x is really y. So this is really a typo right here. So get rid of that. So we're saying you're going to plug in 2 for that x. So f of x is equal to 18 minus 1 f of x, or f of 2. We should replace that x with 2 to make it easier, is really 17. Okay? So let's do the next one. F of x equals 2x plus 29. If we want to make it the f of 2, it means plug in 2 for the x. So f of 2 in this function is 4 plus 29. In this function, f of 2 is 33. This last one, f of x, or f of 2, which they want you to plug in 2, equals a half times 2 minus 3. F of 2 is 1 minus 1, because 1 half times 2. Actually, this should be 1 minus 3. So f of 2 is negative 2. All right, the next one. Determine the values for each function using the top function. So we're going to go back to the same function every time. So the first one is g of 3. So we're going to plug in 3 where the x is. So g of 3 equals negative 12 minus 1, which is negative 13. The g of 3 in this case is negative 13. This next one is the g of negative 4 is equal to negative 4. And instead of that x, we're going to put in negative 4 minus 1. So the g of negative 4 is 16 minus 1. So the g of negative 4 is 15. G of 0. So the g of 0 equals negative 4, and we're replacing the x with 0. G of 0 equals negative 1. All right, this last one is tricky, so you just have to work from the inside out. So I have 5 times the g of negative 1. So in brackets, I'm going to put negative 4 times negative 1 minus 1. So I have 5 times 4, because negative 4 times negative 1 is 4, minus 1. So I have 5 times 3, which is 15. And I think the PowerPoint is missing one. So I have a number 5 that I'm seeing on my notes. If not, you can write this one down. So I have the g of 3 plus the g of negative 10. So we're going to figure out what the g of 3 is and add it to whatever the g of negative 10 is. So first, let's figure out what the g of 3 is, which we already have, I believe. We already did that one. Let's do it over. So the g of 3 would be negative 4 times 3 minus 1. Okay, so I have the g of 3 is negative 12 minus 1, which is negative 13. All right, there's one of the pieces. So then we need to find the g of negative 10. So we have the g of negative 10 is negative 4 times negative 10 minus 1. So I have 40 is negative 4 times negative 10 is 40 minus 1 with the g of negative 10 is 39, positive 39. So now it tells us to add those together. So I have negative 13 plus 39 positive 26. All right. So the next section is graphing from function notation. All right, so it's the same thing as graphing y equals negative 4x minus 1. You can choose any way you want. It's in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to start at negative 1 and go 1, 2, 3, 4. Down 4, right 1. And opposite, I'm going to go up 4, left 1. Okay, this is the same as g equals 1/2 times 2x minus 5. So I have y equals x and half of 5 is 2.5, or minus 3/2. All right, so this is going to be a little tough. This one's tricky. So I'm going to start at negative 3/2 if I do this way. I'm sorry, that's not right. Let's go back. That's actually negative 5 halves, not 3 halves. It's 2.5. So I'm going to go down to 2.5 right here between them. Then I'm going to go up 1 over 1. Up 1 over 1. You just gotta stay between if this is the way you choose to graph. Down 1 over 1. You could also use intercepts if you want. Okay, next one. G of x equals, oop, this is the same one. You have h of x equals 3 minus x. I'm going to rearrange this. I'm going to have y equals negative x plus 3. So I'm going to go up 3, and it's negative. So I'm going to go down 1 over 1. Okay, so here are some application problems. What you need to do for these, it says Cassie runs a babysitting business. She charges a one-time insurance fee plus a cost per hour. Below is a table of what she has currently earned. Okay, first we have to come up with a linear equation. So the first thing we're going to do is use 2 points to find a slope. And then we're going to use a point to find the y-intercept. You could also use point slope, up to you. Okay, so I chose to use these two. So I'm going to take 66 minus 46. We're finding the slope over 5 minus 3. So I get 20 over 2, which gives me a slope of 10. So then I have y equals 10x plus b. Then I'm going to use one of these points. I'm going to just use the 346. So I have 46 equals 10 times 3 plus b. And if I subtract 30 from both sides, I have 16. So when we put that together, here's our equation. Y equals 10x plus 16. Her charge per hour is right there. That is $10 per hour. Here is her one-time insurance charge. And after 15 hours, we just need to plug in 15 for the x and make sure we add that insurance charge back on. So I have y equals 150 plus 16. So we have y equals 166. Okay, so now let's see if you can do the second one, and then I'll post up the answers. Okay, for time's sake, here are the answers. This is 15. So take a look at it and check your answers. If you have questions, come see me about them. Sorry about this. We got to get my computer back working.